big tournament coming up for India. The biggest, and I don't even want to say arguably the biggest for India after the World Cup, because I think until we appear in the World Cup, this is the biggest tournament for Indian football fans, for Indian football in general. Now, 2024 is going to be a massive, massive year for Indian football because not only do we appear in the AFC Asian Cup, in the following international breaks, we also face some very good teams, very hard teams in our hopes for qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Now, a lot of people think we might make it to the World Cup. A lot of people think we don't, and somewhere in the middle, I do think there is the slightest of the chance, but I do also see a lot of big challenges in the way. Anyways, now today we are going to discuss our squad, the 26-member squad that has been picked by Igor's team match for the AFC Asian Cup. Now, here I have in front of me on the screen the squad that we have. As soon as I look at this list, only two names come to my mind, like massive miss. I know there are some key players out, but two stand out of me. And I think most of the Indian football fans will agree with me when I say Anwar Ali and Jeekson Singh are two huge, huge absentees because I look at some very good names here. I look at Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, Sandesh Jingan, Sunil Chetri. I think these three are leaders, are the captains, the leaders, one major leader in every department. So Jingan and Gurpreet look at the base, the foundation of the team, and then it's Sunil Chetri up front who leads from the front. He is the probably an unbelievable captain. I every time I just watch him play, I just like fill with like the feeling of I'm just proud that we have a captain like him. Now Sunil Chetri, Sandesh Jingan, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, no problem there. Absolutely ideal situation to have all of these three fit and fine to play. Now the two misses, why I think they're so big, because Anwar Ali is was in such a good form. His playing out from the back, his intelligence, his reading of the game, his anticipation, the way he came back, his story of coming back from those health issues and making himself almost undroppable from the team was really special to see. Now, I do understand that we have a lot of depth in these positions and defenders. We have got Pritham Kotal, we have got Subhasish Bose, who has actually appeared a lot in at the centre back position in recent past. We also have got Mehtab Singh, who played really, really well at the SAF Championship. So there are players who I see as very reliable options, including Rahul Beke, who can play at both centre backs and full backs. Same in the midfield. We have got the legs, the tireless legs of Anirudh Thapa, Suresh Singh. But Jeekson was something special. Jeekson, for me, was the kind of player that I love, a complete midfielder who can play at the base of the midfield, distribute the ball well, destroy the games. If you want, he can play as an 8 and get in the box and head, win balls, higher up the pitch. When the teams have just won the ball back, you counter press. And Jeekson is the kind of player who adds so much value in counter pressing as a box to box midfielder, as a number 6, as someone who can attack the ball in the box if you want him to. And he's a great header of the ball. His physicality is massive. Go back to 2017. I remember being I think I was like 14 at that time when I watched Jeekson scoring that lumping header against Colombia in the under 17 World Cup in India, where he was just brilliant in that midfield. Now, these two miss, I think, are going to be huge. But the question is, do I see, or do Igor's team see enough in this 26-member squad to cover that? Now, the answer is yes and no, because even though I highly rate Rahul Beke, I highly rate, Mehtab Singh, I don't rate them as highly as I rate Anwar Ali. Anwar Ali's passing accuracy, his long passing, finding wingers for fun, playing out from the back under pressure, beating the first layer of opposition's press. Do I see enough in the midfield? Probably more than I do in the case of defense, because Suresh is not going to get tired. He's going to run, and run. Anirudh Thapa is just a flawless midfielder. He does everything. Brandon Fernandes, I'm excited about him, but at the same time not excited because Steve Match uses him in this weird number 6 deep line playmaker role, which does not suit him. When it suits him, he's unstoppable. I remember watching him in a game in 2021, a must-win game against Bangladesh, which we won 2-0, if I'm not wrong. It was 2-0. He was brilliant. Brandon Fernandes in that deep lying playmaker role. But at the end of the day, majority of the games that he has played in that position under Steve Match for India, it hasn't worked out for him. It hasn't worked out for him. So I just hope that we play him slightly higher up the pitch, where unfortunately I don't think he will play, because even I think we have better options in those positions like Liston Colasso, like Sahal, like Mahesh, who I am a huge fan of. So I do see different kind of players who can come in to replace Jeekson and provide something different than Jeekson. But at the same time, we would lack a lot with Jeekson not being there. But I still think that we have got adaptable players there who can bring in value according to the situation if given. Steam Match uses them really well. Now, going on to our first game, which I am excited about and nervous about, is Australia. Now, the one game that comes to mind when I think about Australian football team is Argentina in the round of 16 of the World Cup. A game that at the time when this game took place and we watched it, this game actually was eye-opening for an Argentina fan, because he was like, "Oh my God, are we really that good? Can we win the World Cup?" Because Australia are not on Argentina's level, so how are they able to, batter us and get the better of us in certain parts of the game? But of course, they went on to win the World Cup. But I remember watching that game live. Australia, for majority of the game, couldn't get hold of the ball. I totally agree. Were second best by far. However, however, I think we all remember the end of that game. I think the end of that game, I still remember Argentina somehow trying to survive. Because when Enzo Fernandez scored this own goal, look at my mouse pointer and look at the moments in the game when Australia were actually knocking on the door. They did a bit in the first half, then a bit towards the end of the second half, but it was truly in the last 20 minutes. It was truly in the last 15 to 20 minutes when they really, really went for it. And I remember Enzo Fernandez scoring that own goal. I remember Australia putting men forward, Argentina, and fine, they won the World Cup. But those few minutes, that part of the game, I remember Argentina struggling to deal with the physicality of Australia, struggling to deal with the speed of Australia. They were playing direct football. They were getting ball wide. They were crossing it in. They were getting bodies in the box. Argentina was struggling to deal with it. Well, credit to them, they did stop them. They went on to win the World Cup. But as a fan of India, who is now preparing himself to watch that team against Australia, I won't say I'm scared, because I'm not scared of anyone, to be honest. When I'm supporting a team, I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I think I'm supporting the best team in the world. I think my team will win every game we face because we are good enough. And I have that attitude, and I will have that attitude with the Indian football team in the AFC Asian Cup. But at the same time, I do get tickles when I think about how good Australia was against Argentina. And, not going to talk so much about tactics in this video, because this video is in general about what I hope from the Indian football team, what I hope against Australia, what I want against Australia. I want an unapologetic, a respectful performance. I'm not saying don't respect, because of course when the opponents is so good, you gotta respect. You can't go all guns blazing. You can't go, we wanna play tiki taka, we wanna play the Barcelona way, we wanna keep the ball. No, you can't be like that. You have to be adaptable. You have to be smart in these situations and understand that you gotta respect the opponent, but also not respect them to the extent that you forget about attacking, which we see when, at club level, when a weaker team is facing a stronger team at international level, in Europe especially, where the disparity is so much, the weaker team would just sit off. They would forget about attacking. I don't want us to do that. I want us to be strategic in a way that we defend. Our first priority is not conceding, but at the same time, we are not forgetting and not focusing, not paying attention on our attacking side as well, because we have got clinical attackers. Sunil Chetri is heavily clinical. He is so clinical that Australia, as much as they would be confident about this game because they are a top team in Asia, I think the one message their manager would give to the players is, guys, anyhow, don't let Sunil Chetri shoot in that zone, that 18 yard, 20 yard, 22 yard, that dangerous area from where a clinical striker scores a lot of goals. Their coach will be saying, guys, keep Chetri out of that. Like, just don't let Chetri face our goal and have a shot at it from that range. Because if he does, it's a goal. And they know that. The one man they will be scared about not letting the ball get to him in certain parts of the pitch is Sunil Chetri. And our job as a team is to make sure that Sunil Chetri gets the ball in those positions. How? Get the right players around him. Get Shante on the right side. Get Mahesh around him. Get Liston Colasso around him. Get players that would make Australia track back, that would make the Australian fullbacks and defenders a little bit worried. Should we go? Should I come in? Because the space is there. Liston Colasso, Shante is unstoppable. I know we are second best. I know we are not favorites for this match. We need to find the right balance between respecting the opponent, having a defensive plan, but at the same time, making sure that when we win the ball back, those Australian players should pray for themselves. I'm not scared because I see a lot of my friends, a lot of Indian footballs out there on social media going, oh my God, I'm scared. How many will Australians score against us? Oh my, I don't give a shit about them. I'm watching my team at one of the biggest tournaments that the Indian football can play at. I'm not scared of anyone. We drew against Qatar not so long ago. We gave them a good fight not so long ago. We lost 3-0. We were brilliant in that first half. The performance will really tell a lot when we play this Australian side. This match against Argentina comes to mind because they had the second half when they were trailing was a real eye-opener because look at their XG in the first half, 0.8. Second half XG, 0.52. Improvement on a massive scale. Total shots, 4 in the second half, 1 in the first half. They changed it. So this tells me they do have gears in them. Like, of course, it's easier to attack more and have more shots when you're trailing in a knockout game, but this does tell me that they do have, gears that, the match is not going our way, let's change this, and this, and they change. Now, I'll be honest. How much do I expect from India in this AFC Asian Cup? I'll be honest. I'll be very honest because I'm an all-in, fully loaded with emotions kind of fan when it comes to Indian football, and I want us to win every match. I want us to have the attitude that we will win every match, and that's how I am before every match. But realistically speaking, we play the first match against Australia on January the 13th. We then play against Uzbekistan January the 18th. We then play January 23 against Syria. Syria is the game we have to win. I'll be honest, I've watched India versus Syria back in 2016 when Syria came to India for an Intercontinental Cup. I went to Ahmedabad and I was part of one of, 5,000 being there, and I was there in the stadium. It was one of the best performances. Narendra Gahlot was 19. He was centre back. He was class that day. I remember his performance. He was every bit of brilliant. He was class. Uzbekistan is another tricky game. Another one I want to see us have an attitude that let's go. Let's get them. Let's start the game on the front foot. Let's put them under pressure. Let's get the ball to Shante. Let's get him 1v1 with their fullback. Let's get the ball to Lister. Let's get him 1v1 in the fullback. Let's get the ball to Sahal and Mahesh in between the lines. Let's allow them to turn, run at their defenders, make them uncomfortable. Don't let them feel comfortable for even 1 minute. That's how I want our team's attitude to be going in the AFC Asian Cup, regardless of who is the opponent, regardless of how much we can concede. Because if our attitude is right, if our game plan is right, I think we can achieve a lot in this AFC Asian Cup. I've got an article coming up on my Patreon page, so make sure you go and follow the page there because I've got an article coming up on the best 11 that India should play along with the tactics and shape that we should be having in each of these games. How should we plan? So make sure you follow that because this video was less about tactics and more about the emotional side of it. How should we emotionally be prepared? We should be in our minds the team that can beat anyone in this AFC Asian Cup. I was watching live 4 years ago when Pranay Holder in the last minute against Bahrain lashed his leg out, gave a penalty, and we were 2 minutes or I think 1 minute away from the knockout stages of the AFC Asian Cup in 2019. It was an absolute heartbreak. I was 15, 16. It was a heartbreak. And that tournament, I'll always remember it especially in my heart. And I want this tournament too, where India can really, let the world know that Indian football is coming. And we are special, and we got to play with the right attitude, the right mentality, so that we at least, whatever happens in this tournament, we should be proud of our boys. The boys should be proud of themselves. And most importantly, we all as a nation should move forward after this tournament and not backwards. I would like you to subscribe to my channel. I would like you to respond to me if you think I'm not making sense in some areas. And I'll see you soon. Bye.